Nightline begins now with me, Raymond. The top stories. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi gives commitment ready to be challenged for UMNO top posts. And no reason to close international borders for now. Good morning. There's no reason to close international borders for now, as the Health Ministry has yet to detect any positive COVID-19 cases among travellers arriving in Malaysia from China. Its Minister, Dr. Zaliha Mustafa, said the situation in the country was also under control, with a steady downward trend of new COVID-19 transmissions nationwide.
Pada hari pertama saja, 8 hari bulan hari itu, kita telah menerima lebih kurang 4,000 pelancong, lebih 4,000 pelancong. Kemudian hari-hari seterusnya. Jadi yang terakhir jumlah yang kita jumlah pelancong itu melebihi daripada 7,000 dan tiada langsung kes jangkitan ataupun yang bergejala yang kita kesan di pintu masuk. Jadi itu adalah satu orang kata status yang sangat baiklah.
Dr. Zaliha said this to reporters at the handing over of the Pendang Hospital project by the Works Ministry on Thursday. Also present at the ceremony was Tunku Mahkota of Kedah, Tunku Shazuddin Arif Al-Aminul Karim Sultan Salehuddin. Dr. Zaliha also said that although the number of screenings reached tens of thousands every day, the number of positive COVID-19 cases detected throughout the country was low. On the Pendang Hospital, the minister said the hospital will start operating on February 15th and is expected to benefit about 110,000 residents in the surrounding area. The construction of the minor specialist hospital started in May 2018 and was completed in October last year at a total cost of 255.27 million ringgit, including construction costs as well as medical and non-medical procurement. Malaysia is considering to halt exports to the European Union, EU, in retaliation for the bloc's new deforestation regulations. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Sri Fadillah Yusof said as the world's second-largest palm oil producer, Malaysia will join hands with Indonesia, the top producer and exporter, to overcome trade barriers and negative campaigns against the commodity. Datuk Sri Fadillah, who is also Plantation and Commodities Minister, said he will leave for Indonesia by February to hold discussions with his counterpart and other stakeholders to fight the regulation, which is an act to block market access to palm oil.
That Europe may want to protect their products also. But as far as oil palm, the world is looking, this is the cheapest product with high quality. Not only cheap, but it can be used for many other things, and it is of high quality, and it is safe. So that's why they have to do some protection, what we call the trade barriers. This is where WTO will have to come in. We make sure that WTO understands so that the trade barriers can be removed.
Datuk Sri Fadillah said this after officiating at the Malaysian Palm Oil Board MPOB's annual Palm Oil Economic Review and Outlook Seminar 2023 in Putrajaya on Thursday. He also pointed out that Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim and Indonesian President Joko Widodo, in their recent meeting in Jakarta, had also agreed to work together to fight the discrimination against palm oil. In December, countries within the trade bloc agreed to the new law known as EU Deforestation Regulation, EUDR, which will stop products causing forest destruction from being sold in European shops and supermarkets. Both Malaysia and Indonesia produce more than 80% of the world's palm oil supply, while Europe is the third largest importer of Malaysian palm oil, accounting for 9% of total exports. UMNO's Women's, Youth and Putri Wings have completed their annual general meetings on Thursday by giving focus on the efforts to strengthen the party following the severe defeat in the previous general election, besides having to face 6 coming state elections. In addition to that, election issues involving the party's highest positions are also a focus. The party's former youth leader, Khairi Jamaluddin, said Datuk Sri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi has expressed his willingness to be challenged for the top post in accordance with the party's democratic process.
Sambil saya salam beliau telah sebut bahawa ready to fight. Maknanya beliau bersedia untuk berdepan dengan sebarang cabaran dalam pemilihan UMNO. Maksudnya Presiden sendiri berani. Datuk Seri Zahid, saya salut kepada beliau. Beliau tak takut. Tadi beliau sebut kepada saya ready to fight. Maknanya kalau ada sebarang usaha untuk menutup demokrasi dalam UMNO dengan usul supaya Presiden dan timbalan Presiden tidak dipertandingkan, maka ia bertentangan dengan keberanian Presiden sendiri.
UMNO must hold its elections, including for Supreme Council member positions, before May 19th. In the meantime, UMNO Supreme Council member Datuk Sri Johari Abdul Ghani has rejected claims by certain quarters that contesting for the party's top two posts would weaken the party as it would create internal conflict in UMNO. He stressed that instead, UMNO needs to keep democracy alive in the party as it will emerge stronger and more credible as long as its members are given the full power to decide the leaders at all levels of the party.
Tengok parti lain. PKR, DAP, PAS, dia jalan dulu. Bukan dia tak berasak, dia berasak juga. Akhirnya apa jadi? Dia orang Pakatan Harapan dia bertanding 82 dia menang. Flying colours. Perikatan Nasional ada pada tu 49 dia dapat daripada 74.
Datuk Sri Johari said this at an UMNO General Assembly exclusive talk show aired on UMNO Online's Facebook page in response to an event on Wednesday where 140 UMNO division heads said they did not want a contest for the president's post at the party polls. He added that there would not be any problem contesting the two top party posts as long as contestants were sincere and did not resort to money politics. On whether he would contest the polls, the Titiwangsa MP said he would challenge for one of the top three posts in UMNO and will make the final decision once the party polls have been announced. Some delegates at the General Assembly made this call: make room for contests. And that's to fulfill the grassroots aspiration to see the current party leadership continue the fight for the party's struggles in making the party relevant.
Bagi untuk jawatan tertinggi UMNO, mana-mana jawatan dalam UMNO yang telah kita tangguhkan beberapa kali patut dipertandingkan. Tak kira lah macam mana pun, kita perlu suburkan demokrasi dalam UMNO supaya kita jangan digelakkan oleh rakyat di luar sana.
So saya rasa UMNO ni parti demokrasi. So bila demokrasi ni kita kena suburkan demokrasi dalam parti. So apa salahnya jawatan daripada akar umbi hingga pucuk pimpinan dipertandingkan. Lagipun kita semalam ada dengar yang 140 ketua bahagian menyokong bahawa tiada jawatan presiden dan timbalan presiden dipertandingkan. So kalau kita tengok angka 140 menyokong tu, saya rasa Datuk Presiden boleh menang, kan? Dan saya rasa Datuk Presiden memang anak jantan, dia boleh je bertanding, kan?
Tapi kita memang kena harap mengikut peraturan pembagian UMNO. Kita kena buat pemilihan. Pemilihan ni pun biasalah. Tiap-tiap satu pemilihan ni, tiap satu peserta mesti ada pemilihan. Berbalik pada UMNO ni satu badan politik, badan siasat. Jadi kita kena perlu ada pelapis-pelapis. Terutamanya pengundi kita sekarang ni banyak musim muda.
Pemilihan ini juga adalah satu proses untuk melihat rejuvenation dalam parti, tetapi kita perlu melihat juga situasi, memastikan kemakmuran itu ada.
In the meantime, UMNO Information Chief has stressed that the party will not stop its members from contesting the office of President and Deputy President, despite the proposal for the top posts to go unchallenged. Isham Jalil said despite the call made by 140 UMNO division chiefs representing more than two-thirds of the 191 divisions, members have the right to contest the posts as enshrined in the party's constitution.
Ada juga naratif yang dibawa di bawah yang menyatakan bahawa kita nak halang, kita tak pernah halang UMNO ni parti-parti lain sebelum ini mereka tak tanding jawatan presiden tapi kita 2018 kita yang tanding jawatan presiden, timbalan presiden. Dan kali ini pun kita tak halang cuma saya personally saya nak cadangkan lah sebab kita terbuka. So kepada sekarang ini mungkin ada beberapa pihak yang cuba kata kita tak nak bagi tanding lah dan sebagainya. Itu tidak betul. Mungkin nak menimbulkan rasa marah atau tak puas hati kepada kepimpinan tertinggi kita lah. Ini yang saya nak cakap, saya nak clarify. Kita tak ada halangan sesiapa nak bertanding.
Commenting on the actions of the group of division heads who proposed that the posts of President and Vice President be uncontested, Isham said it was the initiative of those who do not want to see undesirable things happen in the party elections. Now, the message was loud and clear from UMNO's three wings that when they called for the removal of traitors within the party, describing such leaders as cancerous and being the enemies within. The leaders of the Wanita, Youth and Putri movements said that those who betrayed UMNO would only disrupt its efforts to bounce back after its defeat in the 15th general election.
Justru pemuda mendesak agar saki-baki pengkhianat parti yang selama ini menjadi api dalam sekam, gunting dalam lipatan, mengutamakan diri daripada parti, agar disingkirkan terus daripada menjadi parah yang merosakkan seluruh organ dan dasar parti.
Kita kalah akibat permainan persepsi yang amat dahsyat. Didorong oleh sumber keruangan yang tidak dijangka seperti yang diviralkan. Wallahi itu kan. Dari dalam pula kita kalah akibat sebahagian daripada kita yang tidak pernah berhenti menembak kaki sendiri. Kekurangan ini menginsafkan kita bahawa wanita memerlukan tekad untuk melangkah ke hadapan. 5 pembaharuan penting mesti kita segera laksanakan. Yang pertama, pembersihan dalaman parti harus dilakukan secara total tanpa kompromi.
Mana-mana yang terbukti cuba memusnahkan parti perlu diambil tindakan segera. Berparti ada adabnya. Tiada tempat untuk mereka yang biadab terhadap parti. Saya ulang, kita tidak boleh bertolak ansur dengan mereka yang mengkhianati parti. Tidak kiralah ahli biasa atau yang memegang jawatan. Tindakan mesti diambil dengan segera.
Meanwhile, the party president, who is also Barisan Nasional BN Chief, said he has forgiven the detractors for wanting to back Perikatan Nasional as government, despite calls by its wing movements for the party to kick out traitors. The 10 Barisan Nasional members of parliament, however, would still be under the close watch of the party's disciplinary board and Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi himself.
Oleh kerana perkara itu telah berlalu dan kini mereka bersama-sama dengan kerajaan perpaduan, dan saya nyatakan bahawa saya telah memaafkan apa yang telah berlaku itu, tetapi saya akan terus sama-sama dengan lembaga disiplin melakukan pemantauan terhadap pendirian yang ada sekarang dan juga sama ada mereka melakukan mana-mana gerakan atau move.
He was speaking to the media at the World Trade Center. The Bagan Datu MP said he was convinced that the mistake was made because of the uncertainties at the time, adding that he disclosed the matter during the special presidential briefing on Wednesday night so that the delegates were aware of what was going on. Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim insisted that the welfare of the poor, especially the extreme poor, will continue to be the priority of the unity government. The Prime Minister said the Rahmah conceptual approach will also continue to be emphasized in all government programs under his administration.
Tumpuan kita itu beralih daripada projek-projek besar, projek mega, kepada projek pendidikan, kesihatan dan kebajikan rakyat, dan termasuklah terbatan banjir.
He was speaking to the media after attending the joint meeting with heads of departments and senior federal officials at the Senate Hall of University Malaysia, Terengganu in Kuala Terengganu. Datuk Sri Anwar also said that the federal government is always open to cooperate with all parties, including the state government under the opposition bloc government, for the welfare of the people. Asked about the state elections in the 6 states, he said the matter was still too early to be decided and it was a matter at the state government level. Earlier in the morning, Sultan of Terengganu, Sultan Mizan Zainal Abidin, granted an audience to the Prime Minister at Istana Syarkiyah in Kuala Terengganu. The audience with Sultan Mizan is the first by Datuk Sri Anwar since the Pakatan Harapan chairman, who is Tambun Member of Parliament, was appointed as Malaysia's 10th Prime Minister on November 24th last year. 8 types of food items have been gazetted under the festive season maximum price scheme in conjunction with the Chinese New Year. Domestic Trade and Cost of Living Minister Datuk Sri Salahuddin Ayub said the price scheme will last for 15 days, effective from January 15th until January 29th.
Saya harap tidak berlaku mana-mana peniaga ataupun premis yang didenda ataupun diambil tindakan oleh pihak berkuasa. Itu harapan saya. Berilah kerjasama supaya kita dapat untuk memberikan sedikit kegembiraan kepada rakyat, khususnya pada masa sekarang ini kita menghadapi isu kos sara hidup.
Datuk Sri Salahuddin said this at a media conference during a supermarket visit in Kedah on Thursday before conducting a survey of essential goods there. The 8 items that have been gazetted are white pomfret weighing 200 to 400 grams each, white shrimp between 41 and 60 pieces per kilogram, garlic and potato from China, round cabbage imported from Indonesia and China, live farm pigs, pork belly and lean and fatty pork. On another matter, Datuk Sri Salahuddin said that the issue of egg supply is expected to be resolved within 3 months. 5 killed after car plows into pedestrians. News from the foreign front when Nightline returns. Joe Biden's aides have found a fresh batch of classified government records at a second location in a growing political embarrassment for the White House. It was, however, not yet clear on Wednesday when or where the additional tranche of files was found by Biden aides and whether the search for any other classified materials Biden may have from his time as vice president is complete. It was reported that searches for the additional documents took place after Biden's lawyers found the initial classified documents in early November. The White House, in the meantime, declined to comment on the matter, which is currently under review by the U.S. Department of Justice. Separately, the Justice Department is also probing former U.S. President Donald Trump's handling of highly sensitive classified documents that he retained at his Florida resort after leaving the White House in January 2021.
As was mentioned,
in China, police have arrested a man who drove a car into pedestrians in Guangzhou, killing at least 5 people and injuring 13 others. According to authorities, the crash took place on Wednesday during the evening rush hour at a busy junction in the southern city of 19 million, when the man deliberately drove into people who were waiting for the traffic light before making a U-turn and hitting the people again. The suspect also reportedly drove into a traffic police officer and his motorcycle, but the officer managed to escape. Videos posted online showed the driver getting out of the car and throwing bank notes into the air shortly after the crash. Local authorities said police had controlled the driver, a 22-year-old man from Guangdong province, and further investigation was currently underway. At least 20 people have been killed after a suspected suicide bomber killed himself outside the foreign ministry in Kabul on Wednesday, in the second major attack in the Afghan capital this year. More than 9 others were wounded in the blast. Kabul police chief spokesman Khalid Zadran said the blast hit about 4 p.m. local time as a Chinese delegation was meeting the Taliban at the ministry. It was reported that the bomber had planned to enter the ministry but failed. The ISIS group had claimed responsibility for the attack. Coming right up, Ziyong joins Zija. Stay tuned. 2023 Petronas Malaysia Open. Ng Ziyong capped a disastrous performance from the national men's singles shuttlers after he suffered a second-round defeat to Kodai Naraoka of Japan on Thursday. Ng had a convincing start, taking the first set 21-15. Fresh from creating an upset after beating Malaysia's Hope Lee Zijia in the first round on Wednesday, Naraoka bounced back to claim the next two sets 21-19, 21-15. Earlier, another men's singles shuttler, Liu Darren, withdrew from the second round due to an injury on the right calf. The decision saw defending champion and world #1 player Victor Axelsen of Denmark receiving a walkover to advance to the quarterfinals on Friday. In the women's singles event, Go Jin-wei was outclassed by South Korea's world #4, An Si-young, in their second-round clash. An took only 33 minutes to beat Go 21-10, 21-12 for a place in the quarterfinals, where China's Wang Zhiyi awaits her. In the men's doubles event, national duo Ong Yu-sin and Teo Yi will be banking on the home factor as they seek a back-to-back win over Indonesia's world #1 Fajar Afian and Muhammad Rian Ardianto in the quarterfinals on Friday. Ong and Teo had to dig deep before beating Taiwan's Lu Qingyao and Yang Po-han 17-21, 21-13, 21-14 on Thursday in a thrilling last 16 battle, which lasted 85 minutes. Fajar and Rian, the runners-up last year, were also stretched to the limit by Germany's Mark Lamsfuss and Marvin Seidel before triumphing 8-21, 21-19, 21-16 to set up a repeat of last year's Malaysia Open quarter-final clash, where Ong and Teo had lost tamely 21-13, 21-9 to the Indonesians. Hopes of seeing two national men's pairs in the last 8 diminished after Aaron Chia and So Wei-yik bowed to China's Liu Yu-chen and Oh Xuan-yi in the second round. The fourth seed failed to shine as they suffered a straight set 10-21, 21-23 defeat. Moving on now to football, the Portuguese Cup. Tony Martinez scored a second-half hat-trick as FC Porto cruised past Arouca 4-0 to reach the quarterfinals. Galeno opened the scoring for the hosts shortly after the half-hour mark, coolly side-footing home for an inch-perfect through ball from Mehdi Taremi. 9 minutes after the break, Taremi was provider again, this time setting up Martinez for his first of the night. 3 minutes later, sloppy passing from Arouca deep in their own half gave Porto a glorious chance to extend their lead, and Martinez made no mistake from João Mario's cutback. Martinez finally sealed his hat-trick in the dying minutes after Mario's cross deflected kindly into the 25-year-old's path, who swept home for 4-0 and the match ball. The victory was also significant for coach Sergio Conceição, who has surpassed the late José Maria Pedroto for total victories as FC Porto boss. Two businessmen charged for falsifying documents. This and more after the short break. Selangor, 2 businessmen were charged in the Shah Alam Sessions Court on Thursday with submitting false documents to the social security organisation SOCSO to claim incentives under the Penjana Kerjaya Program 2.0 and 3.0 programs worth 756,980 ringgit. Both Muhammad Ashraf Omar and Muhammad Alif Abdul Rashid, aged 31 and 36 respectively, claimed trial after the charges were read out to them before Judge Rozila Saleh. Muhammad Ashraf was alleged to have submitted false documents in the employee verification form dated May 20th, 2021 in the name of B Mine Enterprise to a SOCSO officer for incentives amounting to 42,000 ringgit under the program. As for Muhammad Alif, he was charged with committing a similar offence using the Perusahaan RR Synergy Enterprise name dated May 20th and 21st, as well as September 4th, 2021, at a SOCSO office to claim incentives totalling 714,180 ringgit. They allegedly committed the offence by submitting documents containing false statements, as the names of the employees in their verification forms were not employed at their respective companies. The charges under the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission Act carry imprisonment for up to 20 years and a fine of not less than 5 times the value of the claims or 10,000 ringgit, whichever is higher, upon conviction. The court allowed Muhammad Ashraf bail of 5,000 ringgit and 1 surety, while Muhammad Alif was released on 50,000 ringgit bail with 1 surety, and additional conditions as requested by the prosecution. The judge then fixed February 13th and 27th, respectively, for mention of their cases. In Kelantan, a contractor was charged in the Pasir Puteh Magistrates Court with murdering an unemployed man 2 years ago. The charge against 34-year-old Tuan Muhammad Rizwan Tuan Muhammad was read out to him before Magistrate Muhammad Izzuddin Muhammad Shukri. However, no plea was recorded from the accused. Tuan Muhammad Rizwan was alleged to have murdered Cik Sobri Cik Ali, aged 37, in Kampong Saring on August 1st, 2021. The charge, framed under the Penal Code, carries the mandatory death sentence upon conviction. The court then set April 12th for mention, pending the submission of a chemist's report and post-mortem findings. As we wrap up Nightline this time around, let's take a look at China's Intangible Cultural Heritage Project at this year's Spring Festival Garden Fair in Yu Garden, Shanghai, which creates a romantic and magical world with the integration of intangible cultural heritage, artistic lighting, and immersive experience of the national style. With that, I'm Raymond Goh. Thank you for your company and take care, Malaysia.